My secretly married husband Elvis and I joined the same variety show. To avoid exposing our relationship, I brought up my real acting skills and pretended we weren't close. Unexpectedly, during a character QA game, my photo appeared. Elvis lit up with excitement and exclaimed, "Oh, my wife! Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day." Now the story begins. Because of the new drama and song, Elvis and I became popular at the same time. Despite having completely unrelated work fields, we both received invitations to the same variety show. Not wanting our daily lives to be exposed under the camera, we chose to have a secret marriage. Before the variety show recording, I repeatedly reminded him not to give us away. Elvis strummed the bass randomly while singing, "Don't worry, honey, even though I'm into music, my acting skills are top-notch." Me? Great. The shoot involved 4 guys and 2 girls in total. The other girl besides me, Olivia, is this year's breakout starlet. Apart from Elvis, 2 of the guys are comedians. And there's one actor named Donald, who always has a smile for everyone. Elvis was the last one to arrive. The belated Elvis wore a black hoodie, adorned with flashy silver accessories, and the belt of his loose wide-leg pants was nearly sliding down to his hips. Somehow it was a bit hard on the eyes, so I quickly averted my gaze. I can't stand the way he wears his pants. It looks like he didn't have time to pull them up after using the toilet. Yet he always insists it's fashion. Of course, if you ignore the pants, Elvis is still quite attractive. The band's lead singer with a deep voice. A tall and aloof bad boy, just putting on a cool act outside. Who wouldn't love that? Sure enough, my friend Olivia blushed and exclaimed, "Elvis is so handsome." He walked closer and looked at me, noticing my gaze on his pants, instinctively pulling them up a bit. Bullet comments, "This guy is so handsome. Is he an actor? I don't think I've seen him before. With looks like this, I'm instantly a fan." Comment above, "FI band. Just listen to one of their live performances and you'll fall in love." Do fashionable guys also worry about their pants actually falling down? Finally pulled up the pants. Feels much better. Feels better. Feels better. I feel comfortable too. Giving him a polite smile. Recording begins, and the production team briefly explains the process. A 10-day shoot with different activities arranged by the team each day. To welcome us today, the production team has prepared a lavish dinner. But to enjoy the meal, we need to win the upcoming game. The game is played in pairs, with free team formation. The first place team gets to enjoy a feast. The second place team eats instant noodles. And the third place team goes hungry. As the 2 comedians were the main sources of humor, they naturally formed a team. I turned and locked eyes with Donald, who smiled and invited me to team up. After I agreed, Elvis and Olivia naturally paired up. Next, the show team announced the game. Guess the song title. Listen to the song and guess its name, requiring 2 people to cooperate. One says the singer, the other says the song title. Olivia excitedly grabbed Elvis's arm. "Elvis, music questions definitely won't stump you." Elvis glanced down at Olivia. Bullet comments, "The aloof cool guy and the little sweetheart. I suddenly ship them. This, just stole my soul." Ah. Olivia baby held on to Elvis like a little kid. Their interaction is so adorable. How can you guys bow to everyone you meet? Speechless. Upstairs. Don't make me slap you at the happiest moment. The game begins, with the 2 comedians not knowing much about the latest trendy music. Apart from a few old songs, they basically give up and focus on being funny. Elvis always shares songs with me, so I can recognize most of them. but obviously Donald can't. Several times I managed to grab the chance to answer and name the song, but he couldn't recall the singer. Elvis and Olivia had much better chemistry. Basically, whenever they got the chance, they could answer correctly. Donald smiled apologetically. Sorry about that. I don't really listen to much music. I gave him a reassuring smile. No worries. My instant noodles are legendary. Donald nodded. Great. Looking forward to it. The game continued. And knowing I couldn't win, I wasn't as eager to grab answering opportunities anymore. Elvis suddenly started being unable to answer. For several songs in a row, Olivia would name the singer, and he'd shake his head saying he didn't know the song titles. How is that possible? I know all these songs. He was the one who shared them with me. I sneak a glance over and just happen to meet Elvis's gaze. I tilt my head in confusion. What are you doing? He tilts his head too, mirroring me. I frowned. And he frowned too. Me? Wow. You're really getting into it. I helplessly averted my gaze. Elvis's hesitation gave our team an opening. Olivia named the singer. And the moment Elvis shook his head, we answered. I said the song title. Donald copied Olivia's answer. This brings the scores of our two teams back to even. As the final song played, Olivia was the first to hit the buzzer. Her cheeks flushed with excitement as she turned to look at Elvis, while Elvis responded with a slow, "Ha!" The show crew quickly counts down. 3, 2, 1. Failure. The opportunity comes to us. Donald. Elvis. Me. You love me. Right. The production team. Success. Elvis propped his chin on his hand and looked over, eyes curving into crescents. Ah, yes. I secretly glared at him. Stop being flirty. He blinked slowly and drawled again. Yes. That's the song title. Bullet comments. Help. His smile is so gorgeous. H. Help. The bad boy's smile is too mesmerizing. Elvis is so handsome I'm crawling all over the floor. Can't even remember your own songs. Who are you trying to fool? Right. I think he's going easy on purpose. Everyone has mental blocks sometimes. I occasionally forget my own name. Why would he go easy on anyone with such a feast at stake? The crew wheeled out a lavish spread for me and Donald, while handing Olivia and Elvis a cup of instant noodles each. Olivia looked at our table, bit her lip, and though visibly unhappy, asked in a joking tone, Elvis, did you do this on purpose? Elvis lowered his head to open the instant noodles, answering carelessly, yeah, me, Olivia. Bullet comment. Elvis looked up, his gaze sliding past my face, and my heart tightened. You little brat. He leisurely fixed his gaze on Donald's face, blinking lightly. I want her to answer my song correctly, and I don't want her to go hungry either. Everyone's gaze followed and landed on Donald's face. Donald dropped the meat from his chopsticks with a plop onto the table, his face blank with shock. Ha! Me! You really know how to divert attention. The fear of sudden silence in the air. Donald quickly lowered his head and used paper to pick up the meat on the table. As I glanced over, why is your face turning red? I secretly glanced up and glared at Elvis, who finally obediently wiped the smile off his face and looked at Olivia. Just kidding. I simply forgot. Olivia blushed helplessly under his earnest gaze, letting out a soft before burying her face in her instant noodles. Me. After dinner, the production team asked us to choose bedrooms. The 3 bedrooms decrease in size sequentially. Luxury double bed bedroom. King-size bed. Dreaming back to the bunk beds in high school. We took turns visiting each one. In the luxurious double bedroom, Everyone gasped in awe in perfect unison. Elvis walked over to the bedside table instead, gently stroking the rose petals with his fingers, then turned to look with a smile in his eyes. Bullet comments. Elvis, who are you looking at? The moment our eyes met, I quickly lowered my head, my heartbeat quickening as if his hand had brushed against my heart. My favorite flower is the rose. When he proposed to me, he used roses. Bullet comments. Not sure if I should say this, but Elvis seems to keep looking at Monica. I saw her blush. Be confident. The way he was smiling so dreamily just now. Across from him were only Donald and Monica, so he must have been looking at her. Or maybe he was looking at Donald. Ha! A path I never envisioned. The director's voice snapped me back to reality. According to the show's rules, roommates are chosen first, then rooms. I was paired with Olivia as the two-girl team. Elvis casually smiled and chose Donald. Donald then nodded blankly with a red face. The production team placed 3 bouquets on the table. Roses, lilies, and peonies, each representing one of the 3 bedrooms. The guests will choose their rooms by winning games. Originally, the bedrooms represented by the 3 flowers were also a blind guess. But after Elvis touched them just now, everyone knew the peonies stood for the luxury bedroom. This round's game was Pictionary, with 2 comedians going first. They only guessed 2 answers correctly but provided plenty of laughs. The second group is us, because Elvis smiled with curved eyes and leaned in slightly. Ladies first. Bullet comments. So handsome, so handsome, so handsome. Just watched his live performance. All I can say is he's so wild. Now looking all polite. In bed he must be. LS, I'm calling the police. How dare you install surveillance in Elvis and my bedroom? Olivia has a natural talent for drawing, effortlessly creating adorable and easy-to-understand little figures with just a few strokes. But I looked at the 4 distinctive little figures on the board, puzzled. A sea of people. Olivia shook her head. A family portrait. 8 immortals crossing the sea. Kept guessing till the end but still got it wrong. Olivia frowned anxiously. It's Dongping's special drink. Everyone. Olivia pointed and explained. Look at this person's finger. It's pointing east. This person has an eagle on their shoulder. This person's hairstyle is super edgy. And this one is drinking water. After speaking, she looked at us with eager anticipation. We barely managed to hold back our laughter, each of us struggling with wildly contorted expressions. After taking a few deep breaths, I patted her head and said, "My bad. I just couldn't connect the dots." No kidding. It's like going around the world just to figure it out. Elvis and Donald huddled together, whispering for a while before starting. Comedians laugh, saying can rapport and painting skills really be mastered quickly? But unexpectedly, the 2 of them performed exceptionally well, answering a total of 4 questions correctly in just 3 minutes. Beside me, Olivia was utterly amazed. Her eyes filled with admiration. Following her gaze, it was indeed directed at Elvis. Amused, I lifted her chin. You're about to drool. Her face instantly turned red. I couldn't help but laugh. Kids are really adorable. Elvis and Donald had priority. Elvis didn't hesitate and picked the rose. We could only watch as he waved the flower at Donald. Donald blushed and nodded. Me, Donald. Snap out of it. Elvis took 2 steps toward me, slightly bending to hand me the rose, his peach blossom eyes gazing deep into mine. Can I give this to you? I was stunned. From the moment we met to our marriage, every significant step forward was accompanied by a bouquet of roses and these words from him. After my favorite musical ended, he shone a single spotlight just for me. The vast theater was empty except for him and me. holding a rose. He smiled at me and asked, "May I give this to you?" That was the day we fell in love. Every time I returned from the film set and opened the door, I would always see fresh roses in the vase, swaying gracefully. One day, a year into our relationship, I opened the door to find not only a bouquet in the vase but also a vibrant one in his arms. He knelt on one knee, holding a rose and a ring, looked up at me and said, "May I give these to you?" That day, we got married. I snapped back to reality. The surroundings were eerily quiet. Everyone was looking at me, including Elvis. I knew I should say something witty to politely decline. Otherwise our relationship would become entangled on screen. But in the end, I took a deep breath and said, "Okay." Then I took the bouquet, sniffed it as usual, and it smelled wonderful, more fragrant than any bouquet of roses. Elvis beamed brightly, just like every time I accepted his flowers. Looking at his silly expression, I couldn't help but laugh. The barrage has exploded. Oh my, oh my, oh my. I admit I started shipping them too early. I was wrong. Turns out I should have been shipping these two. Did they know each other before? Why suddenly send flowers? Cold and aloof guy. Who? This silly smiling Elvis. As a die-hard Elvis fan, I'm stunned. Since when has this guy been so smitten? Seriously, can't entertainment variety shows avoid pushing CPs for once? How fake is this? Who gives flowers to someone they just met? Do it. Just do it already. Calm down. The people are watching you. The liveliness of the barrage didn't affect the silence on site at all. Olivia, her eyes flickered as she bit her lower lip. Donald looked completely clueless, his gaze fixed on Elvis's smiling face. The production team clearly hadn't anticipated this turn of events either, leaving everyone momentarily speechless. The quickest to react were the two comedians, who let out exaggerated, "Oh, Elvis is such a gentleman," giving flowers and even offering rooms to the two girls. Elvis retracted his smile and reverted to his usual aloof expression. Selective gentleman. Me? Yeah. Keep talking. The production team quickly caught on and immediately cued the next segment, with both comedy groups and us selecting flowers. Of course, what we ended up choosing became Elvis and their teams. The results were announced. As expected, the two of us girls got to stay in the luxurious double room. The comedians actually lost due to bad luck. They got bunk beds. Elvis and Donald are in a king-size bedroom. Not that I'm saying anything. Donald blushed again upon hearing the room assignment. I actually felt a bit nervous inside. This guy. You better be straightforward. The comedians teased Elvis playfully, saying, "Elvis, would you like to be a gentleman and swap rooms with us?" Elvis raised an eyebrow. Is there something wrong with the room? The comedians looked awkward. The rest couldn't help but laugh. There weren't any major activities planned for the first day of the show anyway, and since today's highlight had already been achieved, the production team told us we could do as we pleased. They still need to hurry and catch the trending topics for a marketing boost. Who would have thought that on the very first day of airing, it would make it to 2 trending topics? Hashtag Elvis Monica, I'm totally shipping them. Hashtag why is the cool guy grinning so smugly? Hashtag there was still some time before bedtime, and I wanted to talk to Elvis. But the cameras around us were still recording. I had no choice but to turn on the TV and sit on the couch, pulling out my phone. Me? Didn't we agree to pretend we're not close? What's going on with you? Elvis replied instantly. Ha! Isn't this pretty much acting not close? I'm speechless. Why did you give me flowers right off the bat? Do you do this with everyone you're not close to? I thought you were supposed to be a great actor. Elvis walked out of the bedroom and leisurely sat down on the single sofa nearby. I signaled him with my eyes to check his phone. Elvis. Darling. This is already very distant. You have no idea how hard it is for me not to be able to snuggle with you. And you call this close. I'm already trying my best not to kiss and hug you. I'm so sad I could write a whole album of heartbreak songs tonight. When is my wife coming home? I looked up. His expression indifferent. The aloof persona fully intact. Glancing back at the cutesy tone in the phone messages, I couldn't help but laugh inwardly. So this is where you're channeling all your acting skills. Ha! After exchanging a few more words with Elvis, Olivia came down from the second floor. She changed into a loose set of homeware, the pale yellow making her look like a little loaf of bread, irresistibly tempting to squish. She came over with a smile at me, sitting in the spot between Elvis and me. I pulled her in for a good squeeze. Ah, how are you this adorable? Come here. Let your big sister give you kisses. When Olivia emerged from my arms with a flushed face, I saw Elvis narrowing his eyes, gazing at me with an inscrutable look. Me? Olivia shook her head as if trying to clear her mind, melting my heart all over again. Elvis stood up with a cold expression. Olivia quickly asked, "Heading back already?" Elvis gave us a nod. "Yeah, going back to write some heartbreak songs." Me? At night, after removing the recording equipment, finishing my bedtime routine, and exchanging good nights with Olivia, I sank into the soft bed, drowsy and ready to sleep. In a daze, I heard Olivia softly call me, "Monica sister." I opened one eye. In the darkness, the rustling sounds were very clear. As the bed dipped slightly, I caught the Olivia fragrance of shower gel on her. "Monica sister, can we chat a little?" Olivia whispered in my ear. I struggled to open my eyes, laboring through each blink. "Ah, okay. Sister, what do you think of Elvis? What do you think?" "Oh, if we're talking about this, I'm wide awake now. I think he's great." Olivia's voice grew softer. I shuddered and blurted out, but his pants sagged down to his crotch. He even gave flowers to girls he barely knew. He also flirted with Donald, making him blush every time. He's acting all high and mighty. Olivia. Silence is the bridge tonight. I know Olivia has a bit of a crush on Elvis, but I can't tell her Elvis is married, so I just have to badmouth him as much as possible. "Sorry, hubby." Olivia stayed quiet for a while, and my drowsiness crept back in. Just as I thought the conversation was over and I could sleep peacefully, I faintly heard Olivia ask, "Monica, big sis, do you like me?" I can barely keep my eyes open. I do like it. Who wouldn't love a cute girl? Then the night fell silent, and I slept soundly. In the morning, I woke up refreshed and went downstairs to see Olivia and Donald sitting neatly at the bar counter. "Morning." I greeted them with vibrant energy. The two responded weakly, dragging out their words. "Morn. ing. Me." Noticing the dark circles under their eyes, I exclaimed, "Wow, didn't sleep well last night." And then, both of them blushed simultaneously. "Me? What are you blushing for?" Donald stammered. "Last night, Elvis wouldn't let go of me, kept calling me." He pressed his lips together, his neck turning red, calling me wifey. Me? I took a deep breath to stop my train of thought, then turned to Olivia and asked why she hadn't slept well. She also blushed and stammered, "Sister, last night, you held me too tight." Me? I sipped my coffee expressionlessly, at a loss for words. I silently poured 2 cups of coffee for us. Just then, the staff came to fit us with microphones, and the two of us, still blushing with dark circles under our eyes, dropped the subject. I breathed a sigh of relief. After all, it's us, the couple, who owe you an apology. Not long after, Elvis came downstairs as well. His hair slightly curled, his narrow eyes lowered, his chin tucked into the high collar of his black sweater, exuding an air of complete laziness. I sipped my coffee and admired him for a moment, feeling for the first time a twinge of dissatisfaction with his perfectly intact trousers. I quickly glanced over at Olivia, afraid she might suspect that all the bad things I said about Elvis last night were lies. Meeting her gaze directly, I gave her a slight smile, and she quickly lowered her eyes, her face turning red. Me? Something's off. Everyone is acting really strange. Breakfast went smoothly, and surprisingly, the production team didn't assign us any tasks, which gave me the feeling of being well-fed before a long journey. As it turns out, a woman's intuition is never wrong. After breakfast, the production team assigned the first task of the day. Identify the person from the picture. The first to correctly answer 3 questions would succeed and get priority in choosing the transportation provided by the production team to the next task location. The barrage comments started to heat up. Here it comes. The game that offends nationally famous figures is here. Ha 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 ha. It's not awkward if you don't recognize someone, but mistaking someone for another person is the most awkward. Tonight's hot search is already booked. Let's see which poor soul gets this honor. Game starts. The director quickly holds up photos, and we shout our names to get the chance to answer. One after another. Over 10 photos were shown, with everyone shouting to grab the chance to answer, and humbly apologizing online after giving wrong answers. The atmosphere was incredibly lively. A comedian was the first to correctly answer 3 questions and succeeded. As soon as someone succeeded, the competitive spirit among the rest flared up, especially Elvis and another comedian, who had each correctly answered 2 questions. The next question. Whoever answers correctly first will take second place. Elvis was completely focused, his body slightly leaning forward, squinting intently at the director's hand. Next question. 3, 2, 1. The flipped photo clearly showed my picture, Elvis' eyes shining with excitement. Oh, honey. At that moment, I didn't even realize anything was wrong, and even calmly prepared to applaud. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. It wasn't until I wondered why the director hadn't shouted, "Challenge accomplished," that I suddenly realized something was wrong. Exposed. The director's team fell into complete silence, their eyes darting in unison toward Elvis, then back at me, over and over. Olivia's already large eyes widened even further as she stared at Elvis, her expression screaming, "How dare you?" Only Donald stammered, "Elvis, why do you always call people wifey?" "Me." "Olivia." The barrage exploded instantly. OMG. Did I hear that right? No. You don't. Enunciating clearly. He actually called her wife. There's something going on between these two. Monica was stunned. Ha 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 ha. Monica, when did I get a husband? Elvis blinked, let out an "ah," showing no trace of panic or mistake, even giving a light chuckle. Ever heard of husband fans? After saying this, he even flashed me a smile, and the cameraman's lens nearly poked my face in excitement. Everyone. I could only feign surprise. Elvis is my fan. Elvis arched his eyes slightly and responded almost immediately after I finished speaking. Yes, indeed. A fan of 3 years here. As he spoke, he stood up and walked toward the director, while I stared blankly at his movement, my mind in a daze. 3 years. But we've only known each other for 2 years. 1 or 2 years before that. Both Elvis and I had just entered the entertainment industry, tentatively navigating the treacherous waters at its edge. And after being married for a year, he never mentioned that we had met so early on. Lost in thought, Elvis had already taken my photo from the director's hand, holding a pen in the other. "Can I get your autograph?" While I was signing, the barrage of comments noisily propelled us to the top of the trending list. Hashtag Elvis fangirling online, hashtag want to know about husband fans, hashtag as usual. The two comedians were the first to pick up the conversation, teasing Elvis for staying so calm when meeting his idol, hiding it quite well. Elvis took the photo from my hand, smiling with satisfaction. "Thank you, idol." I smiled. "Thank you for not calling me wife again." I felt a bit nervous and distracted all afternoon, but the live stream wasn't over yet, and I didn't know how things were going. I guess both our phones were bombarded by calls from our managers. Meanwhile, Elvis seemed completely untroubled by this, radiating pure sunshine. He spent the whole afternoon calling me idol and hovering around me until I felt dizzy. Fortunately, there was still Olivia by my side to block him, preventing Elvis from getting too out of hand. When the evening shoot ended, I ran to the second-floor balcony, pulled out my phone, and sure enough, Twitter messages 999 plus, IG messages 99 plus, 32 phone calls. Me. I gritted my teeth. Elvis. I had just angrily clicked open his chat dialogue when he walked up behind me. Before I could say anything, he murmured gloomily, "Wife, I'm jealous." I choked up. He lowered his eyes and stared at me quietly, looking aggrieved. In the afternoon, Olivia kept glaring at me and wouldn't let me get close to you. I was jealous. I haven't even scolded you yet, and you're already acting aggrieved. I looked around and didn't see any cameras on the balcony. The recording equipment had already been removed, so I swung my arm back and slapped him hard on the back. Elvis instead laughed until his eyes crinkled. "Ah, finally getting close to my wife." I couldn't hold back a laugh. "Elvis, are you out of your mind?" He quickly moved closer, lowering his head and whining in front of me. "Wife." I reached out and pushed him away with one finger. "Elvis, what's wrong with you? Did you just ignore everything we agreed on before the show? Do you have any idea what your manager would do if they found out?" I opened the call log. Out of 32 calls, 28 were from Elvis's manager. As luck would have it, right at that moment Elvis's manager called again. Elvis snorted coldly. "Why doesn't he call me directly?" With that, he took the phone from my hand, even from some distance away. I could hear the angry voice on the other end. Elvis listened quietly for a while before speaking. "Ah, Tom. So this is how you usually contact my wife." There was sudden silence on the other end. Elvis just calmly said one sentence. "Tom, if my wife gets angry, will you come be my wife instead?" "Me?" I slapped him again. He smiled at me and even reached out to pinch my cheek, but his tone remained cold as he replied, "Tom, you wouldn't want the company executives to see those photos, would you? Contact me if you need anything in the future. Are you her manager or something? Reaching out to her this often." Then he hung up the phone and blocked the number. I leaned in closer. "What photos? You're acting so bold now. Aren't you afraid the manager might mess with you for treating him like that?" Elvis seemed a bit unhappy. "Honey, is he always this way when he contacts you?" "Me? No, not really. Actually, yes. I've even lost count of how many times he's called me or met with me in person." "Miss Monica, do you realize you're harming Elvis? He's at such a great point in his life right now, and you're thinking about marrying him." Do you have any idea how hard it was for me to get him to where he is today? Do you know how difficult it is for a band to make it big? I heard you want to go public. Let me tell you. Don't even think about it. I don't know, Elvis, how you've managed to bewitch him like this. But you must convince him. Miss Monica. Don't be so angry. After all, you wouldn't want Elvis's future to be ruined because of you, would you? Elvis, after successfully proposing, would always hold me while watching TV and discuss with me how to go public in a way that would amaze everyone. I always burst into laughter at his bizarre copywriting and wild imagination. His enthusiasm and Tom's cold responses are like the warm spring breeze meeting a winter ice cellar, leaving me feeling torn and bewildered. I began to hesitate, to fear. Would it really be good to go public? Would Tom stop providing resources to Elvis in the future? Am I really going to ruin him? Finally, after Elvis asked me for who knows how many times, "Darling, how are you feeling today? Should we go public?" I stayed silent for a long moment before saying, "Let's not go public. Darling, darling." Elvis suddenly brought his face close to mine, startling me, and I quickly snapped back to attention. He pursed his lips and looked at me. "What are you thinking about? Darling, you look so sad." I froze for a moment, my eyes suddenly stinging a little, and rolled them in an attempt to hide it. "Cut the crap. Get to the point. Tom, what's going on?" He didn't elaborate, just said Tom had sticky fingers and that he had evidence. I felt a bit nervous. He still had over a year left on his contract with the company. Would he be given a hard time? He just smiled. "Don't worry, honey. If it weren't for these photos, Tom would have squeezed our band dry." After saying that, he raised his hand and gently brushed my face. "Honey, is the reason you don't want to go public also because of Tom?" I froze for a moment, looking up at him. His peach blossom eyes held nothing but tenderness and heartache. I choked up, blinking to hold back my tears. "Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't tell you back then," I said. I still remember when I told Elvis we shouldn't go public. He froze for a moment, then let me out of his embrace, crouched down in front of me, held my hands, looked up and asked, "Honey, what's wrong? Did I do something bad?" Looking at his earnest yet slightly anxious expression, my heart ached, but I didn't relent. "No. I think going public would still have too big an impact on your career. Let's not take the risk." Actually, I had already discussed it with my agent, and she was very supportive. She said that what matters most for an actor is their acting skills and character, and nothing else should be an obstacle in your career. "Congratulations. I wish you both happiness," Elvis also told Tom. Tom said to Elvis that he could decide for himself, but privately told me not to make it public. Looking back now, it was because Elvis had leverage over him, so he didn't dare refuse Elvis, and instead came to persuade me to convince Elvis not to go public. "Honey, if you keep this up, I might cry," Elvis said hoarsely. "Clearly, you're the one who's been wronged." He pulled me into his arms, holding me tightly. "Honey, it's because I'm not capable enough." I quickly patted him. "What nonsense are you talking about? Honey, from what he just said, I can guess what he told you. It's my fault for not being capable enough, making you sacrifice for me." His voice was heavy, and I hate it most when he gets like this. Emo, all deflated, like a vibrant oil painting losing all its colors. I quickly pushed him. "Elvis, no emo allowed. Get up." As I pushed him away, I indeed saw his eyes were red. He looked at me. "Darling, no matter what happens in the future, will you always talk to me? I'll write songs and sing well. Let more people know me, know my songs, earn more money, and have more confidence to say, I won't let you suffer any grievances. My nose tingled with emotion. Aha. He chuckled. I didn't make empty promises to my wife. I already sent the heartbreak song I wrote last night to the producer, and he said it's definitely gonna blow up. Me? You actually wrote it? He gave a soft hum. Right. Not being able to get close to my wife is one thing, but then you're all lovey-dovey with Olivia. I'm practically heartbroken here. But hey, inspiration is overflowing. I couldn't help but laugh and pat him. He leaned in and whispered softly, Honey, can we go public now? Surprisingly nervous. I licked my lips and answered just as softly, Okay. Lying in bed at night. My heart is still pounding wildly. I can't sleep. Feeling both excitement and regret. Excited that everything is out in the open with Elvis. Regretting not having talked to him sooner. Had I known Elvis wouldn't be controlled, I wouldn't have been scared by Tom at all. Lying down, I began recalling Elvis's various proposed public approaches and copywriting, eliminating them one by one. TSK. These wild ideas aren't impressive enough anymore. While I was brainstorming wildly, I heard a faint voice beside me. Monica's sister. I was startled and quickly put away my smile to look over. Olivia was lying beside me watching me. Monica. I saw you and Elvis on the balcony today. My heart skipped a beat, and I instinctively tensed up. Had we been discovered? Then I realized that since we were going public anyway, it didn't matter if we were seen. I let out a and was just about to explain to her when I heard her say with frustration, Sis, how can you be laughing and chatting with him like that? Me? Ha! No. Listen to me. She grabbed my hand abruptly. Sis, you can't let your guard down just because he's your fan. His pants are sagging down to his crotch. He flirts with Donald and makes him blush every time. He acts all high and mighty like he's some hotshot. Big sister. Snap out of it. I'm done for. I've made my bed and now I must lie in it. Okay. There's no way to explain this. Wanted to Olivia to be the first to know. Failed. Yesterday's trending topic stayed up for a full day. When I woke up at dawn and checked my phone, I found that Elvis and I already had quite a few shipper fans. I clicked open the video they had edited overnight and watched it with great relish. Little did they know, the couple they're shipping is actually married. I thought with a touch of pride. Today's game is my highlight moment. 6 people divided into pairs of 2, relying solely on memory and the costumes/props provided by the production team to recreate their teammates' classic look or character. The pair with the highest accuracy wins. Elvis chose me first. I pressed my lips together in a slight smile and mutually selected him. Then I received Olivia's warning glare. So I quickly wiped the smile off my face and put on a serious expression. This game is way too easy for us. I chose to recreate his classic skin. After everyone changed their clothes, they all wore cloaks to maintain an air of mystery, unveiling them one by one in order. The 2 comedians recreated each other's embarrassing pasts, leaving everyone in stitches. Olivia and Donald recreated each other's iconic screen roles. It's my turn to show off, and I'm quite confident. Walk to the front and dramatically swing the cape. Bullet comments. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha, help me. Help me. I'm shipping them so hard. This is killing me, ha 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 ha. It's truly classic. Not just the barrage comments. Even the people at the recording site were laughing, including Elvis, who couldn't hold back and shook his head with laughter. I maintained a straight face, carefully embodying Elvis's cool and aloof persona. I was wearing Elvis's most iconic outfit, a black hoodie with exaggerated silver accessories, loose wide-leg pants, and the finishing touch, a belt on the pants that hung perilously low, nearly reaching the hips. I tried to strut a few steps, but the belt on the pants was too loose and kept slipping down. Even though I was wearing another pair of pants underneath, I still felt somewhat embarrassed. Elvis walked over with a smile and fastened the cape for me. Idol. I'm truly flattered. The barrage went wild with excitement at this moment. After everyone had laughed enough, it was time for Elvis. He stepped forward, putting on a wig, a high ponytail at that, before removing his cape, which made everyone laugh for quite a while longer. However, the outfit under the cape was puzzling. A white t-shirt, jeans, and simple canvas shoes, with a notebook in his hand. What a perfectly normal outfit, yet paired with Elvis's wig and height. It looked absolutely hilarious. Laughing, I tried to recall if I'd ever played this type of role before. I'm recreating my idol's image from 3 years ago at T University. I froze as Elvis's gentle gaze rested on my face, smiling faintly. Back then, our band wasn't well known, but fortunately, with the support of friends, we managed to secure a performance opportunity at T University. I can hardly even remember which song I was singing at the time, but after the performance, I wandered aimlessly around T University's campus. The weather was beautiful that day. T University has a grove of trees where the sunlight filtering through the leaves cast beautiful shadows, and the wind made a rustling sound as it passed through. I heard someone crying. I caught sight of my idol, but I didn't dare get too close. I could only see her profile. She was crying so bitterly, still speaking through her tears, each word filled with despair yet determination. It was heartbreaking and made me want to cry too. I felt I should leave, but I truly couldn't move. Her weeping was too full of despair. I stared blankly for a long while when suddenly she just stopped. Elvis couldn't help but chuckle. Yet listening to this, my eyes had already reddened. She wiped her tears, picked up the script in her hand and muttered. The emotional outburst here was passable. Then she turned and left. Only then did I realize there was no one in front of her at all. She had just been practicing acting. I'm completely stunned. From that day on, she became my idol. Although I didn't know her name at the time, I knew she would soon appear in everyone's sight and be loved by all. That day, she was wearing this exact outfit, shining brilliantly and dazzling in the sunlight. Elvis walked over, handed me a tissue, and said, "Idol, I'm so lucky to stand before you again." I wiped my tears and smiled at him. Me too. He also smiled, turning to grab another tissue for me when, smack, his high ponytail whipped me right across the face. Me. So much for sentimental moments. Clearly, they're not our thing. Bullet comments. Wah, this is a true fan. Wah, Monica fans are deeply moved. She truly shines so brilliantly. Love. This is love. I'm totally shipping them. You two not being together is just unacceptable. Ha 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 ha. Monica's emotional moment got ruined by the ponytail. Ha 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 ha. Everyone is moved. Only I think Elvis looks hilarious with that wig on. Ha 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 ha. That night, I once again received Olivia's lecture. Sis, you can't easily believe a man's sweet talk. Sis, don't fall asleep. Listen to me. MMM. MMM. I fell peacefully asleep as she rocked me. With more than half of the variety show left, I began living a life of balancing acts. Elvis brought fresh roses from outside and handed them to me, which I happily accepted. In the evening, Olivia sternly lectured me not to be fooled, and unable to get a word in, I could only nod painfully. Choosing each other with Elvis in the game means getting an earful from Olivia at night, whispering secretly with Elvis on the balcony, only to be dragged back to the bedroom by Olivia immediately after. The show is almost over, And Elvis is nearly out of vinegar, jealousy. After Olivia glared at Elvis once again, his gaze turned gloomy, his smile devoid of soul. Darling, when I first went to your family's house, even your father wasn't this wary. Me, the night before the variety show ended, I decided to tell Olivia about my relationship with Elvis and explain that there were reasons behind my previous negative comments about him. We can't let Olivia find out about our public announcement online. That would be too shocking. I held her hand in the bedroom and said, Xiaoya. Her big eyes blinked, a faint blush appearing on her face. Monica's sister. You say, I truly deserve to die 1,000 deaths. I really can't bear it. But I gritted my teeth. Actually, I and Elvis. Her face instantly changed. Sister. Me. I. Listen to me. Olivia looked worried. Sis. I know you like Elvis right now. Don't you? She cut me off. But her question was exactly what I wanted to say. Yes. Her reaction was as if she'd been struck. Sis. Don't be so love-struck. Even though he's your fan, you've only known him for a few days. Don't get so infatuated just because of some flowers and sweet words. I'm really touched. Truly. If Elvis weren't my husband of over a year. But who can I blame? It's all my fault for shooting myself in the foot. Actually, Elvis is my husband. As soon as I finished speaking, Olivia was stunned. I quickly grabbed her hand, afraid she might hit me, then nodded firmly. Yes, that's right. Legally married husband. Seizing the opportunity, I hurriedly explained that the things I had said to her earlier were because we couldn't go public yet. My mouth went dry as I rambled on. Olivia slowly teared up and slowly got out of bed. I asked her where she was going, and she turned her head to say gloomily, to write a heartbreak song. Me? But you're an actress. Girl. The show concluded successfully, with the barrage comments filled with reluctance and blessings. At the end of the program, the guests interacted with the live audience. When Elvis and I stood together, I witnessed the barrage comments surge firsthand, eventually making it impossible to see myself on the screen. I secretly bumped into Elvis. He secretly bumped back. My heart felt dizzy from his bump, thumping non-stop. Suddenly Elvis sneezed several times in a row, and I hurriedly asked if anyone had tissues. As the staff hurried to find paper, I reached into my pocket. No worries. I've got some in my pocket. At that moment, Elvis also shook his head. No worries. Idle. I brought my own. Then we both simultaneously pulled out 2 red booklets, with golden letters neatly printed on them. Marriage certificate. Ignoring the shock of those around us and the stunned live comments, we continued our little skit. Elvis looked surprised. Wow. My idol. Your paper is exactly like my limited edition one. I barely held back my laughter. Right. I reserved and bought it at the Civil Affairs office. You too. Elvis nodded with smiling eyes. Yeah, but each sheet is unique. You know, everyone gets a different one. Really. We both theatrically and slowly opened our marriage certificate towards the camera, revealing that group photo. In unison, we exclaimed, "What a coincidence! You're my husband/wife." The barrage of comments went wild. The live stream froze, and the recording site was stunned into silence. Only Olivia stood by, arms crossed, shaking her head with a cold laugh. This script must have been written by Elvis. It's so bad. Holding hands, we beamed brightly at everyone. We'll invite you all to the wedding. You must come. Without waiting for their reactions, we ran off. We dashed all the way to the car, my hands still trembling from the excitement. After Elvis and I caught our breath, We exchanged a glance and burst into laughter uncontrollably. We laughed for quite a while before finally stopping, and I couldn't help shaking my head with a chuckle. Seriously, this way of going public is so silly. He raised an eyebrow. But isn't it the most unexpected? I couldn't deny it, especially since I had enjoyed playing along. True that. We both giggled foolishly for another moment. Our phones started buzzing with incoming calls, messages, Twitter notifications flooding in. Yet neither of us reached for our phones. He turned slightly, took my hand and interlaced our fingers. Darling, I love you. I smiled at him with curved eyes. Honey, I love you too. He leaned in to kiss me, murmuring between gentle nips and traces, finally getting to kiss and cuddle with my wife. Blushing, I slapped him on the back, and he laughed before deepening the kiss. The end. Extra. After going public, Elvis went crazy. Every day. Right on schedule. He posts Twitter updates. 9 square grids. Every single picture without fail featuring either me or our couple photos. Twitter just 2 days before his post. Everyone was buzzing with excitement, propelling him to the trending list for 2 consecutive days. But when people realized he wasn't just making a simple official announcement, but rather blatantly showing off his love and torturing single folks, they were utterly dumbfounded. They flocked to my Twitter comments, practically shouting at me to rein in Elvis. I've come to realize that there's no controlling this guy now. He's either flipping through old photos or posting on Twitter. After he kept posting for a whole week, I finally snatched his phone away, crossed my arms, and glared at him. Still posting. Still at it. He whined pitifully, but his hands were anything but well-behaved, wrapping around my waist as he buried his face against my neck. Honey, we've been married for over a year and dated for over a year, yet we've never once posted about it on our feeds or Twitter. He raised his head and looked down at me. Can't I make it up to you? Me, suddenly feeling a bit guilty. I hadn't posted even once after the show's live broadcast on Twitter. Elvis was practically eagle-eyed. How could he miss my guilt? He hugged me and pouted. Wife, you just don't want to go public at all, do you? I get it. I'm not good enough. I'm not presentable. I was squeezed so tightly that I raised my hand and slapped him on the back. Let go. Right on time in the evening. It was Elvis's turn to Twitter bomb the entertainment industry. Except today was a bit different. Fans from both sides stared at the 2 consecutive notifications popping up on their phones, not wanting to click on them at all. Entertainment accounts twitched at the corners of their mouths as they looked at the 2 consecutive 9 square grid posts of the pair. I get it. I totally get it, folks. I looked at our Twitter posts right next to each other and couldn't help but laugh. Looking up, I saw Elvis gazing down at me with a smile. I froze for a moment before instinctively raising my phone to capture him. He looked up and saw me, squinting with a smile as he walked over and wrapped his arms around my waist. Is my wife secretly taking pictures of me? No, my wife talks tough, he said with a laugh before kissing me, murmuring between my rapid breaths, but your lips are still soft when kissed. Then I hit him, my face burning red. Evening Twitter and Elvis trended again. Hashtag Elvis Monica, you guys need to chill. Hashtag because. Ahem. I posted another Twitter. That candid shot of Elvis. Top comment was from Olivia. Sis. Blink twice if Elvis kidnapped you. Elvis just had to provoke everyone by commenting underneath. My wife just loves me too much. Successfully stirred up public outrage. Olivia sent me a message that same night. Sis. When are you guys having the wedding? Can I be a bridesmaid? I smiled and replied to her. Of course. Olivia. That's great. Sis. I'll study door blocking techniques hard. Me. Elvis is in trouble. Speak of the devil. The next day after finishing a magazine shoot, I returned home and upon opening the door, was greeted by the sight of Elvis kneeling on one knee, and two enormous bouquets of flowers obscuring his entire face. One bouquet of roses, another of Chinese roses. Looking at this upright human vase, I couldn't help but burst into laughter. I walked over, took one bouquet from his hands, and looked down at him. Why did you buy two bouquets of flowers? He looked up at me with a smile in his eyes. Darling, let's start planning our wedding. Okay. We can begin the preparations today. The only antagonist, Tom, has already resigned, and I've signed a new contract with the company. I froze for a moment, suddenly at a loss for words. So I reached out to wrap my arms around his neck, leaned down to kiss him, and gave him my answer. He led me to the dining room. Oh, a candlelit dinner, no less. I raised an eyebrow at him, and he smiled, lifting our clasped hands to kiss them. The day we request the wedding is very important. After we sat down, I asked, "Why did you buy roses this time too?" Elvis said, "The flowers you like and the flowers that represent—"
Sister, your smile is truly beautiful. Me, turning to face Olivia, I sighed with a smile. Olivia, why aren't you satisfied with Elvis? She sat with her arms crossed, eyes downcast, not saying a word. It wasn't until I took her hand and gave it a little shake that she finally looked up at me. I don't understand anything about those 3 years you had before me. From my perspective, it's just that such a wonderful older sister was easily swept away by Elvis. That silly boy. Me, I have to say, it was quite touching, and I really wanted to laugh. Xiaoya, Elvis isn't silly. He just smiles a lot. He's handsome, gentle, and good to me. He loves me, and I love him. I hadn't even finished speaking when Olivia interrupted. All right, sis. As long as you're happy. Don't rub it in. Me, okay then. In the rush, time seemed to fly by, and everyone suddenly shouted while looking out the window. They're here. They're here. Olivia, who had just been sitting in the corner feeling emo. Olivia immediately stood up. Friends, it's time to block the door. I looked at Olivia's excited face and began to worry whether today's wedding would end right here at the door blocking game. Could Elvis really take me away? The door was knocked. Olivia crossed her arms and asked who was there and what they wanted. The groom and groomsmen answered. Olivia snorted, took out her phone, and began shouting questions to the groom at the door. My heart tightened with every question asked, but Elvis outside the door quickly answered each one. My heart was racing along with Olivia's questions and Elvis's answers. My palms sweating uncontrollably. I couldn't help but sigh inwardly. What was supposed to be a joyous gate-crashing ceremony turned into some kind of quiz competition. Yet it was oddly thrilling. Finally, Olivia ran out of questions, and the others noisily demanded they hand out red envelopes. After stuffing in quite a few, Olivia still refused to open the door. That's when I heard Dennis's voice. We've got a big one here. It won't fit through the door crack. Open the door a bit wider so we can push it in. Olivia was still too naive after all. The moment she opened the door just a crack, the groomsmen burst in and pushed it wide open. Olivia widened her eyes slightly as she watched Elvis walk in with a beaming smile. Then noticed the man behind Elvis. A clean-cut buzz cut paired with an elegant suit, somehow lending the suit a roguish charm. His slightly upturned eyes gazed at her with a smile. You must be Olivia, right? Olivia pursed her lips and took a step back. Yes. Dennis waved his phone with a smirk. You've searched quite a few solutions for this door jamming issue. Olivia finally realized he was the one who'd been feeding answers to Elvis outside the door, which instantly made her regard him with disfavor. And you are? Dennis arched an eyebrow. Dennis. Olivia stared at him for a moment, then muttered as she dashed off. You're nothing like me, Dennis. Watching Olivia flee in fear, He couldn't help but laugh. Elvis had called Olivia a tiger, but she was clearly just a timid little rabbit. The bridal pickup finally concluded without incident. Elvis and I sat in the car, sighing in relief. Honey, I was really afraid you wouldn't be there when I opened the door. Me? Why? Elvis couldn't help laughing himself. I'm afraid Olivia will crash the wedding. Then both of us burst out laughing uncontrollably. After serving tea at the hotel, when parting ways with Elvis, he held my hand and said, "Wife, I'm so excited yet so nervous." Before I could even open my mouth to comfort him, he laughed and said, "One kiss from my wife, and I won't be nervous anymore." Me? I gave him a quick peck on the lips and urged him to hurry along. His smile was so wide his eyes nearly disappeared. By the time I changed into my wedding dress, the room was filled with gasps of admiration. Everyone chatted, praising Elvis and blessing our marriage. My heart swelled with joy as I smiled and responded to each and every blessing. Approaching the entrance, the doors swung open with the host's voice inside, and the light from the venue spilled over me. I instinctively squinted, lifting my gaze to see Elvis on the distant stage. I couldn't clearly see his face, but the path beneath my feet felt like the 3 years we'd walked together, filling me with excitement to rush forward. Amidst the unending applause in the hall, I walked while taking in my surroundings. I haven't seen it live yet, but I entrusted it with complete confidence to Elvis. And now the awe in my heart tells me he truly achieved perfection. The clear blue background feels like being enveloped by the ocean, serene and mysterious, while the pendant crystal lights meander endlessly. Beneath my feet along the path are my favorite roses. I instinctively held my breath, experiencing Elvis's world created just for me, my heart pounding uncontrollably. Every seated guest wore smiles on their faces, smiles of blessing. I also saw every member of the production team from before, each wearing a knowing, affectionate smile. I even overheard the director saying to someone beside them, "You know what? I was their matchmaker." The person next to them smoothly replied, "Absolutely. Without your show this year, they wouldn't have gotten together even 2 years ago." The wave of emotion in my heart nearly broke into laughter, but I managed to hold it back as I walked onto the stage. Seeing Elvis with his look of awe and reddened eyes, the wedding atmosphere instantly felt real again. Do fashionable guys also worry about their pants actually falling down? As both sets of parents gave their speeches, he kept his eyes on me. The officiant's speech was ongoing, and he was still staring at me, suppressing a laugh. I whispered in his ear, "Are you dumbstruck?" Elvis sniffled and grinned at me. "Wife, it's my first time getting married. I'm just so excited, so happy, and so nervous." "Wife, you're so beautiful." Me? I could tell. When it came time for the newcomer's speech, I watched as Elvis took a scroll of paper from Dennis's hand. Me? "Are you about to issue an imperial decree?" With a gentle release, the scroll unfurled, so long that it reached the ground. Elvis, still red-eyed and sniffling, said with utmost sincerity, "I'll just keep it brief." Me? The audience burst into laughter, and I couldn't help but laugh too. Quickly grabbing his hand, "Don't you dare. My legs are sore from standing too long." Elvis reluctantly agreed, then started reading his script. But once he began, he couldn't stop. I looked at the handwritten notes on his paper, his reddened eyes, and listened to his slightly trembling voice as he expressed his feelings for me. I lowered my eyes to hide the tears, unable to bear making him stop any longer. After listening to him, I couldn't control my tears and glared at him in frustration. Why make it so emotional? And when it was my turn to speak, even though I had only written a small card, I couldn't help but pour out my heart to him, telling him how much I loved him. We stared at each other with reddened eyes, and suddenly I felt this moment was already eternity. "Now, the groom may kiss the bride." Elvis gently cupped my face with a smile. "I love you, my wife." I stood on tiptoe to lean closer to him. "I love you too, my husband." We kissed away the rest of our lives to the rhythm of each other's heartbeats. Extra story end.